Salam everyone. Hi, a good day. It is a privilege and it gives me immense pleasure to stand here for our rights to live as an Indian citizen and a member of the indigenous population of islands of Lakshadweep. Let me first of all thank the organizers for providing me this wonderful opportunity to be with you, share my views with the eminent personalities here in the webinar, and also at the same time apologize for being unable to upload a video because of the some technical issues with the network in my island. I'm extremely sorry for that. As we all know, Lakshadweep is a place known for its natural beauty, its tranquility, and the people, the local indigenous inhabitants with a very rich culture, heritage, history, and the people live here in harmony with nature and the laws of the land. Being a native of Manikfan, I can say from the history records that history of the entire Lakshadweep, including Manikfan, which was a part of Maldives, date back even before Christ, the Roman Empire. There's historical evidence that shows that the inhabitants of the islands living in the Arabian Sea even visited the palace of Roman Emperor before Christ. So that is the real fact of the population residing in the islands, I mean living in the islands, and not you cannot simply neglect them saying as settlers. Therefore, I would like to refer this as a civilization in the Arabian Sea. Whoever have been at the center, I mean from the government at the center, they were all very much empathetic and they were concerned with the islands and the islanders, their welfare, and also the developmental activities. They were considerative of our socio-economic aspects, our culture, our history, and our lifestyle, our faith and beliefs, and also the fragile and vulnerable ecosystem with a diverse biodiversity. But the situation suddenly turns upside down with the arrival of the present administrator, Mr. Praful by Patel. The second political appointee first being Mr. Farooq Khan in Fagend of 2016. As usual, gifted with, naturally gifted hospitality and the rich culture of receiving guests, the people of Lakshadweep received administrated with great hopes without knowing the despotic ruler's intentions, motives, and his plans. His first idea was to create a false impression among the locals for being a man of development. But soon after, no later, his motives became exposed when he ordered to relax the existing SOP of the COVID-19 with stringent quarantine measures at Cochin and also the islands. Though there are, I've heard a few people making statements supporting Mr. Patel, saying that no, it was not he who decided to take off the SOP, but it was the decision of Disaster Management Authority of Lakshadweep. But we all know how the administrative machinery in Lakshadweep works. Immediately, the local inhabitants who were aware of the consequences that's going to happen protested, and cases were charged, arrested for unlawful gathering. You can imagine what's going to happen. And moreover, the cases were framed for establishing a few boards with slogans against CA and NRC, and arrested and charged with sedition. And the buck didn't stop there even. Immediately thereafter, the draft notification of Lakshadweep prevention of antisocial activities, that is similar to Gunda Act, was notified. Apparently, people may ask, what is the problem with it for a common man? I will not go into the details of this act, but would like to say that there are many clauses that are unconstitutional and denies the basic human right, and that are entitled in the constitution, that is to seek legal help when someone is arrested and detained. The regulation gives the administrator immense powers, and he is authorized to order to detain any person whom he feels that it is necessary to detain him, even without any material evidence against him, and detain him as per the regulation. Rather than trying to understand the people, the culture, the lifestyle of the local inhabitants, the indigenous population, there was a hurry from the side of the administrator who was appointed recently. And for this reason, there was a hurry to amend regulations to impose new laws upon the people, including the beef ban in the name of Animal Preservation Act. Panchayat regulation was totally scrapped, and a new regulation was notified. Draft notification was notified. Moreover, the democratic institutions, especially the PRIs, district panchayat, the powers were stripped off, and the departments and the 5 departments that were transferred in 2012 was taken back without any valid reason, which is obviously an undemocratic action, worse than a bureaucrat. All this together point towards an aristocratic ruler who wanted to rule by might and power, and not to deliver and look after the welfare of people, which all democratic minds of this country will condemn with its good spirit. The most outrageous and the draconian regulation the present administrator, Mr. Patel, is trying to impose is the local development authority regulation 2021. Comparatively, all other regulations, and this regulation is considered among the majority as the most dangerous and evil one, that is intended to evict, dislodge and grab the land from the owners of the indigenous inhabitants of this island. I would prefer to highlight and discuss merely this regulation, the local development authority regulation, rather than going to all other regulations or whatever he has done after taking the charge of these islands as the administrator. This regulation, the LDAR 2021, gives unrestricted powers to the administrator and the authorized officers to enter one's own land anytime and evict the owner, and further includes many other clauses that would deny the indigenous local inhabitants to own and enjoy their property as envisaged in our constitution. This regulation, the LDAR 2021, gives unrestricted powers to the administrator and the authorized officers to enter one's own land any time and evict the owner, and further includes many other clauses that would deny the indigenous local inhabitants to own and enjoy their property as envisaged in our constitution. The massive developmental activities and programs and projects he is talking about is unfit, unsuitable, and against the very published policy of tourism development in islands by the government of India, that says it should be economically viable, environmentally sustainable, socially acceptable, and culturally desirable. This is the development mode which we actually want, and we are not against such development which takes care of our social, cultural, traditional, and our faith and belief and other aspects. The massive developmental activities and programs and projects he is talking about is unfit, unsuitable, and against the very published policy of tourism development in islands by the government of India, that says it should be economically viable, environmentally sustainable, socially acceptable, and culturally desirable. This is the development mode which we actually want, and we are not against such development which takes care of our social, cultural, traditional, and our faith and belief and other aspects. It is very clear, very much clear, that our existence is under question, and we, all the natives, are under fear and chaos under Mr. Patel, and nothing less than calling him back and revoke all the drafts notified by the present administrator, Mr. Patel, should be prized to the Honorable Prime Minister, His Excellency the President of India, and also simultaneously request to appoint a senior IAS officer who is capable to understand our culture, heritage, and the socio-economic aspects to implement welfare and developmental activities and projects that will not have any adverse impact on this fragile and vulnerable ecosystem with a rich biodiversity. To preserve and to develop should be the motto of UTL administration, and not destructive development. Now, to conclude, I would like to say that let us unify, keeping aside all the political differences for the time being, and let us not stop this fight until Mr. Patel is called back and all the draft notifications are revoked, and an IAS officer is immediately appointed as the administrator of Lakshadweep Islands. Thank you all. Wassalam.